Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Luigi's and the Coaches Show here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. We're glad to see everybody here tonight. And for the guests who are not joining the Coaches Show but just enjoying the meal here at Luigi's, we're glad you're here. We hope you will just join in with the fun of the show tonight. My name is Gene Reed, and this is my partner, my sidekick, a real gentleman, Mr. Gerald Lewis. And the guy off the camera is not the guy, but the gentleman off the camera is our producer, Uriah Martinez, and we thank Uriah for keeping us on track every week. We're glad to be here at Luigi's. And each week, Gerald, they offer a special. What's the special for tonight?
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Spaghetti
$12.
Spaghetti and meatballs, and for only $12. And but they have a great wide menu. You will enjoy it. So we're glad you're here, Gerald. Another great lineup for tonight's show. We're going to talk about that win over Noble. We're going to take a look at the upcoming quarterfinals game.
Yes, sir.
Coming up Friday night with the game against Pryor. We'll also talk to both the coaches. Two of our coaches are here, head coach Brickman, Jeff Brickman, and also the defensive coordinator, Coach Bo Bradshaw. So can't wait to get them up. And also we're going to bring up our MVP of the game for Friday night. Yep. And who would that be?
Mr. Aiden
Elcision. So we just can't wait for them. And, Gerald, it seems like just a couple of weeks ago, we were sitting here at Luigi's talking about the first upcoming game of the season against a Class 6A team, Bartlesville. And we were excited about that. And here we are. We've wrapped up an exciting district season, regular season, our first in 5A, and we ended with district champs.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and, we think it's a couple weeks ago. It was, 12 weeks ago? 13 weeks? 12 to 13 weeks ago we started the show. So.
And I'm working with
You're good.
I
think you just pulled. Yeah, you're good.
All right, thank you. And adjusting our sound a little bit here, Gerald, because I couldn't hear you in my headset. Still can't, but I can hear you out there. That's good. So, like I said, we're district champs, swept the district
undefeated
with 6 wins and no losses. That was so much fun. Last Friday night, the Noble Bears were in town for round 1, and what a way to open up postseason in a brand new class and a brand new district.
Yes, sir.
What did you think about the game?
I thought it was amazing, and we have a brand new trophy in our trophy case also. So for district champs, no, it was fun. The crowd was amazing. The band was amazing. It was just the atmosphere was just electric for the playoffs and everything. So we're excited to see what's going to happen next week or this Friday for our second playoff game at home.
If it were up to you and I, we would probably give out about 20 footballs. I say that each time. We'd probably give 22 to 24 game balls because so many people contributed. Yeah. And inevitably we end up mentioning a few who maybe were graded out well by the coaches or had big plays, and those big plays came because of some support from 22 other or at any given time 10 other players on the field.
Sir.
So, but the coaching staff do recognize a certain number of players for their particular positions, and they grade them out. We've talked about that each week. It's not just how many big plays they made.
Right. Or how many touchdowns you scored.
Or how many touchdowns, but how they graded on each and every play that they were on the field. And apparently, the more time you're on the field, the more chance you get to build up points, because we've seen that a time or two, and the coaches explained that. So let's just take a moment before we look at some of the stats and some of the highlights of that game. The players that were selected by the coaches, the various players of the game for Friday night. The game MVP, as you mentioned a moment ago, was Mr. Aiden Elcision.
Yes, sir.
One of our seniors, and so congratulations to Aiden, and he'll be coming up in a little while. We'll pepper him with a few questions about his popularity now that he's finally, that he's on the show in that regard. And he was on our show a couple of weeks ago as well. Our offensive player of the game, not too surprising ever, but Taj Smith, also a senior, plays offensive tackle or guard. I know he's on the line.
And he did not score.
And he did not score.
Which was a letdown.
But he had tried the previous week. He did score. But, man, did he have a play on one of the scores. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. So, offensive player of the game, Tosh Smith. Defensive player of the game, Rex Heskew.
Yep.
Oh, so many could have gotten a game ball for that. There are folks, a lot of the players sitting in the restaurant tonight had big plays on defense.
It's really good to see number 4 flying all around the field.
Rex, and not to mention his play on offense, the number of catches he made. Rex is another one of our seniors. Another senior, Zach Craig, special teams player of the game. So congratulations to Zach. For player of the game for special teams, and the Hammer Award, which somehow they've added a sledgehammer to the word, that went to Mr. Preston Scagnetti. And, we quickly came to where we could not only pronounce, but we can spell Scagnetti.
Well, you can spell it just because you wrote it down, but I still can't spell it.
We are so proud of him, and he's a sophomore, and he gets recognized throughout the season for the number of awards for Hammer Award and most knockdowns, and that's kind of like those pancake blocks or pancake tackles or whatever. It goes to Mr. Tosh Smith, again, one of our seniors. So congratulations to these guys, different players of the game. So just before we get further to the stats, Gerald, here's a riddle for you. If I said the riddle, 5 for Bell, 5 for Bell, 5 for Bell, 5 for Perez, what would I be talking about?
You would be talking about 63 points put up by the Newcastle offense.
63.
And those are the kickers that kick the extra point.
9 touchdowns, and that's a sequence. Pfeiffer, then Bell, then Pfeiffer, then Bell, through 7 of those.
Yep.
And then our freshman, Christopher Perez, kicked the last 2. And along with Madrano, our senior place kicker, who had an excellent night, all 4 of our kickers, we'll have to ask the coaches about that.
Yeah.
We have so much fun.
Yeah, and we made everyone. So, again, the kicking game is very, very important when you get to the playoffs. So, it's important every single game.
So true. Yeah. The special teams, we call it as well, and involves punting, kicking, PATs, field goals, and then the receiving kickoffs and receiving. Just great. Hey, let me run down some of the highlights of the stats anyway. In rushing yards, the Racers had 183 rushing yards. The Bears from Noble had 242. Yeah. They had a little bit more gains on the ground, but they didn't turn on to very many points.
Right.
And in passing yards, the Racers, a passing game, we had 288 yards against that defended the Bears passing game. They only had 108 total yards. The Racers 471 total yards, and the Bears 350 total yards. First downs, 20 for the Racers and 17 for the Bears. Yeah. Third down conversions, 5 of 6 for the Racers, and 6 of 12 for Noble. And one conversion, third down, we didn't make. We picked it up on the next play, which was what? Fourth down.
1 for 1. 100%.
1 for 1 on fourth down. Passing, Shaniel completed 11 of 14 passes for 178 yards and a touchdown. Right. What a game in the air we had. Schumard came in. Ashton Schumard came in. We asked him to throw a couple of passes. He completed both of them.
Yeah, both of them. One for a touchdown.
One for a touchdown.
One for the touchdown.
And then on the stats, the rest of the team were 1 for 1. And I don't know who that was, but it was for 44 yards. So
our bad.
Yeah. So I don't know. I found that on the stats. Hey, the scoring. Recapping the scoring: Jackson Shaniel, the rushing touchdown, the Pfeiffer kick. Jackson Shaniel, second, rushing touchdown. Bell kick. Caden Longman, pick 6, touchdown.
Pick 6, yep.
Pfeiffer kicked. Shaniel to Alex Schumard, pass completion for a touchdown. Bell kicks. The 5th touchdown, Preston Scagnetti. Right after that kickoff, right after that score, we kicked off. They fumbled the kickoff return. After running across the field, the ball came out, got knocked out from one of our players, and
scoop and score.
Number 21. What's that name?
Preston Scagnetti.
Scagnetti came loud and clear over the loudspeakers, called a scoop and score. and he scored. And Pfeiffer kick. T.J. Bradford had a great night rushing. Didn't put up a ton of yards. Could have gone a lot further.
Didn't have to.
He didn't have to, and he got other guys in play.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But,
all right.
Yeah.
He got up and down the field for us, and then he put it in one himself, a rushing touchdown. Jackson Shaniel had another rushing touchdown, Pfeiffer kick. Caden Longman, right after Noble finally got their first score, about 12 seconds later, Caden was running through the end zone with a kickoff return. And then finally, the 9th touchdown was Ashton Schumard hit Santorio Boykins for 50 or 55 yards. It was a mile.
Yeah.
And a catch and then a great run after
Mr.
the
Boykins.
kick. Yeah, it was great. And Christopher Perez kicked those last 2 PATs. Yep. Here's some highlights I picked up.
Okay.
First of all, Taj's pancake block downfield on that touchdown to Schumard.
Yeah.
What a great play. It might have been. It's probably one of those. It was thrown behind the line of scrimmage, so the lineman could go down, like another one
just
was.
Like Lock Mac.
But Taj was down there, and bless his heart, the little defender turned around and saw, as Billy Collier would say, he saw 7 in one eye and 7 in the other eye, and he went flat.
Yeah.
So that was good. Scagnetti's scoop and score was a great part of the game. Ben Rogers, when Caden did the kickoff return, Ben Rogers traveled about 125 yards across the field, caught up with Caden almost to him, but got between him and a potential tackler. That was just amazing to see that type of effort and that type of speed. Ashton Schumard's pass to Boykins, the catch and run was a highlight. Alex Schumard's touchdown reception was a highlight in my mind. Zach Craig had 8 tackles on defense. Barker and Scagnetti each had 7. Barbie had 6. Heskew and Shaniel 5. Great show on defense. Caden Longman's chase down to prevent a touchdown. That was fun to see. And the last pass that I saw completed was to Ryder Cruz, number 19, 11-yard reception, a first down. One of our seniors doesn't get a lot of playing time, but guess who's out there every week doing practice and at every game ready to run in, and that's so great. So what are your thoughts? Any other things come to your mind as far as highlights of this game?
No, I mean, it was just a great game to watch and be a part of, and all the little things that we see that the people at home don't see. But just sitting there, as you go to practice and watch them put in the work, and then you see it on the field. And how we practice this, and then how we practice that, and then
so true.
And then our coaches put our kids in the situation
in the right place, right place. Yeah.
And they execute.
And we probably don't see 80% of what's really contributing. We usually follow the ball and see who's around it, and we don't see all the things that allow that ball movement to be made the way it is. Out of the top 4 teams out of District 5A1 were Newcastle and Bishop and MacArthur and Midwest City. Midwest City and MacArthur did not prevail. So in the next 4 games will be Newcastle hosting Pryor. Bishop McGinnis will be at Del City. Guthrie, I think, will be at Booker T. Washington, and Carl Albert will be they will be hosting Claremore. So a lot of excitement coming up. So
a lot of good football.
A lot of good football. So anyway, thanks for bearing me out. I just love talking about the good things happening on the field, the fun watching it. And I snuck in to practice once again a little while yesterday.
They haven't fixed the hole in the wall yet?
They haven't.
Good.
I put it back up each time, and they don't even know where I sneak in. But I saw once again, I saw the players with discipline during practice, paying attention, and coaches continue to coach, just like it's week 1. The nature of the coaching changes, but the focus and the coaching Coach Bradford had turned, and he was talking up to the younger players or the players who are not on, saying, "Watch this, be sure and watch this. You're going to learn from this." So that's good to see. Well, we'll take a break now, and we'll invite up the guy that the show is named after, the Coach's Show. Coach Jeff Brickman will be joining us. So we'll take our first break. We'll be right back with our first guest. You're watching the Coach's Show here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. And we are back at the Coach's Show here at Luigi's. I hope everyone's having fun. Are we having fun? The crowd at home wants to hear you. Good, very good, very good. Thank you. Thank you for that. We woke up the bear.
Yeah.
Hey, well, welcome back. We're here at Luigi's. Such a fun place to have the Coach's Show. They do such a good job hosting us. They take good care of us, take good care of the customers, the team, the players, and all the guests who are here. Tonight, again, just a reminder, tonight's special is spaghetti and meatballs, one of the best dishes on the menu. However, it's one of many good dishes on the menu.
What you don't know, if you haven't had them, is the meatballs. They're the secret family recipe that Mrs. D. Wilson will never share with anyone.
Right.
And we've tried to get that many times. So the homemade meatballs are...
She won't crack, huh?
Yeah, amazing.
So come see us. There's still time to get here. We're 117 Northwest 32nd Street. If you don't recognize that address, we're here in the Tri-City area, just across the street from Brahms, and just about a 7-iron from Walgreens, or maybe a 3-iron from me, if I'm lucky. And, hey, welcome to the Coach, to the show, rather, Coach Jeff Brickman. Coach, good to have you here. Another year into the playoffs, and congratulations on a big win Friday over the Bears. And now we're ready to host a quarterfinals game against Pryor. So before we look too much to the Pryor game, just want to ask you, what are the key messages you shared with your team following that win against Pryor, against Noble?
Well, we were looking forward to getting back on the field, in a game that wasn't going to be a monsoon of a rain game. So, but just really wanted to play well in all different phases. I know that sounds like coach speak, but it's usually like one side kind of helping the other side instead of all three really dominating the game. And I think that's why you saw a big score like it was we really played what you'd call complementary football, all three phases doing really well.
Right. Well, we had success on both sides of the ball. Offense did well, defense did well, as well as special teams. Nice balance between running and passing the ball on offense. So what do you say to your team? I mean, you had to give them a lot of kudos and everything. Did you leave the game with any coaching moments at all? I'm sure.
Well, it was one of the first. It's the only game I can remember where I didn't say anything after the game because we had senior night for band, and then we had the trophy presentation for winning District 5A1, and I figured they were just about spent, from all that. So I didn't really say a whole lot, but obviously Mondays we start everything off with a team meeting and just kind of talk to them about how proud I was for them, and the big message this week has been, this is really our senior night this Friday.
That's right.
Because it will be the last time the seniors ever play on the football field at Newcastle. Yeah. So that's kind of the message going this week. Obviously, we want to win. We're down to 8 teams. We want to go down to 4, and then we're going to go down to 2.
Right.
But, that's another extra motivation, I think, for the seniors.
I think so, too. And I had made a note of that I want to get Aiden to talk a little bit about that, too, because as a senior, he's among that, one of the seniors, but he's been playing with these guys for a lot of years here at Racer Stadium and everything like that. So that's a good point you make. Remind us of some of the team goals that you all set for yourselves, and maybe kind of how you did against them Monday night, if you remember some of the details, not Monday night, Friday night.
The team goals really are be on time, give great effort, lead by example, and to make sure that you are respectful. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but
but as coach speak, that's the things that those kids can control.
That's right. And I never want to be one where you had, a big old sheet that had memorized all these mantras and stuff.
Right.
And then the other one, which we took from when I was at OBU to some of the assistants I had early on here, even were players there, and they got it from Nebraska, which coincidentally, you got Josh Heskew.
Yeah. Right.
But day by day we get better and better, so we can't be beat. Yeah. And that's really what it is getting better every single day, because you just you can't live in the past and you can't live in the future. You got to live in the moment, and it's really hard to do. That's why Jimmy Johnson, I think he was a psychology major, and he was one of the great coaches, and so was Nick Saban. And Nick Saban was the first major Division I coach that brought in sports psychologists for their team, because most of what we do is in between the ears and trying to overcome those voices, those voices that either try to create resentment between maybe someone that's playing ahead of you, or maybe you don't think you're getting the ball as much as someone else, or even the worst kind of voice is the one that tells you, you don't get to play and you don't really mean anything to the team. And that's something I told the team last week, was every single member on the team is valuable and very important, and don't listen to those negative voices in your head.
Good, great.
And we saw that early on with all of our injuries. When those kids had to step in, and they were prepared and they were ready, and they did well. So it's just when your number's called, you got to be ready to go. So
and anyone who's played ball or watches practices during the week.
Yeah.
All those kids take the hits. All those kids are out there, as you mentioned a few days ago, a couple of weeks maybe, about the heat that they practiced in and played in. Yep. And some of them don't get as much playing time. But what kind of team would have 22 players on it, no one to practice against?
Yeah.
So, well, those behavioral or those individual goals you just mentioned also translate into performance goals. And I've heard you talk about, like, some of the goals you have, like, in pass completions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do some of those come to your mind?
Offensively, because you never know what type of weather you're going to play in. So offensively, our team goals are 400 yards of offense, over 70% completion percentage, because you might only throw 5 balls.
Right.
It's not going to be yards based. We want to average over 8 yards a run. 7 yards a run.
Okay.
And then we want to be 100% inside the 20-yard line. Like when we cross the 20 in the red zone, it needs to result in a score.
Right.
And no turnovers. Those are our offensive goals. On defense, we want to hold the opponent to under 100 yards rushing, under 100 yards passing. We want to at least 2 takeaways, turnovers. Yeah. We want at least 3 and outs. And those are our defensive goals. And special teams, it's all, that would take a long time because there's so many different units.
Right.
But this past game, we almost met every offensive goal. We we had a fumble inside the 5, which eliminated the 100% inside the red zone and no turnovers. If we wouldn't have turned that over, we would have hit every single offensive goal. So it was our best offensive game we've had.
Yeah.
And then defensively, when we, we're way up, some of our younger players were in, or less experienced players, and they rushed for about 150 yards. And that's why, and it goes back to what I was telling them is, your time in practice is valuable, and don't think that you're, waiting your turn. Like your turn's now. Like you need to be ready to go.
Well said.
Yep. And so special teams, we met every goal but one, and the goal we didn't meet, it was punt because we didn't punt the ball.
Gene and I were going to talk about that because we had 0 punts, which is nice. And you had 2 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, I think the thing that it's being a head coach is really hard because it's a lot of, you're always worried about offending people and things like that. And I'm really good friends with their head coach at Noble. He's a great guy. And then their defensive coordinator I've known for a long time. And we were up. We were trying to run the ball. And then we got to like a 3rd and 15. And we let our we threw it, and we scored. And then after that, we told our kicker to kick a high looping kick, and he just kind of miskicked it, and it looked like we kicked a onside kick. And, he's been doing it for a long time, so it wasn't too bad. But I just, it's like you can't win for losing. It's like.
Well, Coach, about that, though, it looked to me like that ball went 10 yards.
But it's the high school
rule.
You
can't. The ball has to hit the ground before you can recover.
Okay.
And it wasn't by design, so that's why it looked funny.
Yeah. And you mentioned when you let Aiden throw the ball is like, and I think I was talking to Coach Catch a little bit after the game. Is like those players, when they come in late in the game and they're valuable, you still want them to play.
Yeah.
You still want them to play 100% every single play, and that's what they did. And that's what was there, and the play resulted into a 44-yard touchdown pass. And it looks like, hey, we're trying to run the score up, which we're not. It's just those kids are playing.
You talking about when Ashton went in?
Yeah, because it's their opportunity.
Yeah, and it's still the.
But
I
it
agree
is hard.
with all that.
But
the hard part is, I know what it's like to walk across and shake a coach's hand whenever we've lost, because I feel terrible and I'm thinking about it. For 2 days, and it just, and then I also know what it's like to win and go across and shake the same, and I know it's just a part of the game, and a lot of it comes down to, and I think I've gotten a lot better, surely I have for 20-something years, is not making it an idol.
Yeah.
It's a job, and you got to go through a process, and, try to leave it there when you go home, but it's still hard to do.
Yeah.
I still enjoy talking about the kickers, the kicking crew, as I call it, and all 4 of them had a big role in the game. Madrano had some great kicks, and then Pfeiffer and Bell and Perez all got some PATs. That's fun. I'm not looking for records or whatever, but there's not too many times where you're going to have 4 different kickers, not miss anything, and all either score or do exactly what you ask them to.
Well, the funny thing, I played receiver, and I kind of know them because I was them. It takes one to know one, and I'm used to receivers kind of getting jealous of each other because they're hey, he got 5 balls, or I get it. I've never had kickers this many that are this good.
Yeah.
Right.
And, it's like they're almost like the receivers. It's
Are they divas?
Yeah,
they
are.
I know Tobias Pfeiffer's a diva. I know that.
You enabled them well, though, because they all got in there, and they all I'm so proud of them. Coach, it appears you or some of the coaches I heard had challenged the team for kickoff return, and that seems to be working. We had 2. We have one in the last 2 games, right? Kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah, and Coach Engelking does a fantastic job of special teams, and it's really hard. Being a special teams coach is hard, and but my job as the head coach is to point things out. I mean, that's just what I do, and I'm always looking for ways to improve. And we talked as a staff, and I said I felt like every unit of special teams has done well this year except for our kickoff return, which doesn't make any sense to me because we have some dynamic athletes back there.
Right.
And so we just kind of figured it out and figured out what we wanted to do. And so 2 weeks ago in the team meal before the game, I said my challenge is to return a kickoff for a touchdown, and they did it the first. Yeah. And they came by and they're like, "How was that?" So now that we've done it, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing, Coach. I know coaching means more to you than just the X's and O's of the game. You've talked about how it just puts people together that otherwise wouldn't be playing, wouldn't know each other and everything. But playing ball and coaching the sport really gives you a chance to focus on more than how many yards are gained. Talk a little bit about the relationship part of the game to you.
Yeah, in my faith, I believe that God's sovereign over all things. And the way I think about it's like he's like a 3D chess player. And he's created different things to where I wouldn't know you guys. I wouldn't know any of these players. I wouldn't know any of the coaches if it weren't for this sport of football. Now, it can be, just like with anything, we can abuse things, right? Like things that were intended to be good, we can turn them into things that are, moderation, I guess, is the key. But,
correct.
But to me, when I think back, I have to stop every once in a while and just realize, like, I really shouldn't be, like a head high school football coach. I mean, I wasn't that good of a player. That's why I think I resonate a lot with some of these guys we're talking about. And to think that, me being able to, be a head high school football coach, I've coached in college, like there's no reason for me to have done that. And when I think about it, it's like, I've been given a lot of responsibility because I have a big platform with young people. And I used to think that my job was only to, try to win and try to help them get recruited. And then I was reminded, about 10 years ago that I've been put in this position for one reason and one reason only, and that's to share with them the message of Christ. Because I was once their age. I know everything that they're going to do, I did. And it causes guilt. I mean, that's what it causes. And, my message isn't to them like, hey, you got to do this, 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 and this. It's when you get to that point where you realize mistakes that have been made, there's only one person that can take that guilt away from you, and that's the Lord. And just to point them in that direction to whenever they face that's kind of, why I do what I do.
Well, Coach, so many of us have learned, I'm going to segue from that a little bit, only to say, we know the verses that says trust in the Lord in everything we do, but the next verse after that says to acknowledge him. And you do such a good job of acknowledging God for the gift that you bring to your job and the ministry you do to the people around you. So not only do you do a great job coaching, but you acknowledge the role of God in your life, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I don't want to do it because I'm afraid somebody's going to think I'm overbearing or, and that's those voices say, hey, don't do that. But what always comes to mind is when the Lord says, whoever is ashamed of me and my words, I will also be ashamed of him whenever I return in my glory with my angels. And I'm like, okay, then I'll do it.
Well, there's probably no better segue or no good segue to leave from that, except I'll just, my last question to you would be, tell one more time about this group of seniors you have, because you've had them now for at least 4 years, and maybe you were around, you're probably before that in middle school and everything like that and teaching. So talk a little bit more about the seniors.
They're very special to me. They're all different, just like, it should be. And they buy in, every single one of them, and they do exactly what you ask them to do. And I'm hoping that we just get to keep going, because I'm not ready to tell them goodbye for sure, because they're a very special group to me.
Yeah, we're good. Any final questions for the coach?
Christmas tree, is it up yet?
No.
Christmas lights?
Well, no. My wife's in charge of the Christmas tree, and she loves doing that.
Yeah.
And then I do the lights, and one year I almost fell off the roof. So I started just doing them down the driveway and stuff like that.
Nice.
But
Good plan.
if I had a lot of money, I'd probably pay somebody to put them up.
Well, I'm watching the beard. The beard hasn't come off yet, so evidently you're still, your wife is still blessing you on letting it go and grow through November, and I hope it's there in December the 15th or
and
so.
There's very little gray in that. Very little gray.
There's a little bit right here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. We'll take a break here and bring up and see if Coach Bradshaw agrees with a single thing his head coach has said, but I know he will. Because speaking of those relationships, it also shows in the coaches you attract to you and to your staff. Yeah. Coaches do that anyway. That happens in sports. There's that affiliation, that fraternity, or whatever the right term is, that lasts for years. But the ones you attract and the ones that come here and leave have been just such men of character. And so I applaud you for that as well. So, Coach, thank you so much for being here and all the times you're here. And we hope we have 2 or 3 more shows to do. And so we'll take a break now. Yep. And and when we come back, we'll have Coach Bradshaw, our defensive coordinator. You're watching the Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
College is more than just going to class. College is a journey. It's meeting new people and making new friendships that will last a lifetime. It's learning from professors who care about you and your success. And finding out it can be really fun and rewarding. It's discovering that thing you want to do for the rest of your life. Cameron University is all about helping you grow and succeed. Because your success is our success.
How do you ignite minds, inspire curiosity, fuel the explorers and innovators? How do you instill a lifelong love of learning? You give our Oklahoma schools and teachers, and most important, our kids, what they need. That's why the people of Oklahoma Oil and Natural Gas have contributed over $2 billion to education in the last decade, so our students have the opportunity to improve our future and theirs.
At CFD, our mission is to deliver quality dentistry by providing big practice benefits with a little practice feel. Since 2008, we've updated our look, technology, and have added new smiles to our tenured staff to better care for you right here at home. Convenience for you is one of our biggest goals, and we often provide same-day treatment to minimize your time off work. We are open Monday through Friday to serve you. Visit cfdok.com for details. We look forward to seeing you at our big little practice.
How do you ignite minds, inspire curiosity, fuel the explorers and innovators? How do you instill a lifelong love of learning? You give our Oklahoma schools and teachers, and most important, our kids, what they need. That's why the people of Oklahoma Oil and Natural Gas have contributed over $2 billion to education in the last decade, so our students have the opportunity to improve our future and theirs.
we are back at Luigi's here in Newcastle. We're in Tri-City area, right here at 117 Northwest 32nd Street in Newcastle on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Welcome back to the Coaches Show. We hope you're having a good time. Everyone have a good time? Everyone fine? All right, good. They're all eating. They're all eating, and that's good.
What are the boys playing?
I don't know, honestly.
They're playing some game on the
y'all aren't talking to each other. I hope you're at least playing with each other.
Yeah.
I'll bet they. Hey, I'll give a shout out. One of my good friends, Michael Littlejohn, watches our show real faithfully, and he sends me texts occasionally, thumbs up, or
thumbs
we
out.
don't hear you, or do a little better. So my thanks to Michael Littlejohn, one of the guys down at the donut shop. We know everything about everything.
Yep,
so you always want one of your buds to give you feedback and everything. So, Michael, thank you for the thumbs up. I hope that meant everything's good, not to, okay, we're good, turn it off.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're back here at the Coaches Show, and we're so glad, again, to have one of our favorites. He might be our favorite.
Defense wins championships.
Defense
wins games.
Yeah, I'm stuttering already.
Yeah.
But Coach, defensive coordinator, Coach Bo Bradshaw. Coach, if you hear me saying that to some of the other coaches, you'll know it's just me.
I was gonna say, whenever I kind of dropped that in, like, hey, they've mentioned that I'm one of their favorites having on the show.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 other guys piped up saying that they were told the same thing.
Yeah,
so I was gonna ask you about that.
No.
Okay, I'm going to let Coach Blue know because he definitely thought he was the guy. So I'm going to have to.
But he always thinks that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make sure he knows that. Yeah.
See if I'm welcome to sneak into practice anymore.
Right.
All right. Well, hey, Noble produced quite a few yards on the ground last week, you might say, just on paper, but they showed very few points for it, and. You could call it bend but not break, but we didn't even bend very much for much of the game. Yeah. So, Coach, what are some things, what are your takeaways from the game? I know you have to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things as far as just like their rushing game goes is I was given a lot of respect to their passing game.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect for their run game to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. Their running back, I thought, was one of their better football players.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really seen that on film, to be honest with you. So I was really impressed with him. He was a lot better than I probably gave him credit for going into the game. So that was part of it. The other part of it, too, was, once we got up at the end a little bit, we were able to get some of our guys in there. Younger guys don't have as much experience. And, credit to Noble as they took advantage of it.
Right.
And they drove down the field at the end of the game there for 2 scores.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of their success came from. And I think Coach Brickman talked about it earlier where it's just like those guys – they get their chance in practice to be prepared for that kind of stuff, and whenever they have their moment, they need to make the most of it. And, it's just a couple plays here or there where they kind of got some big gains.
Yes, still a lot of kudos to to those who came off the bench.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all want to see a goose egg, no score, and everything like that. But I'm glad for Noble. It's good for them. That's their final game. I'm not glad that they scored against us, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
But those young men have been those. Now they're seasoned players, and they come in and they didn't just fold up and let them run over.
No, well, and they forced a turnover there late. They forced a fumble and we jumped on it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Very good.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on that, like you said, because coming into the game, their Noble's passing game was, on paper was really good. Mm-hmm. They were 70-30, 80-20 pass to run, something like that.
Yeah.
And so you're focusing on that. And I think when Caden had that pick six, and that made it 21-0. I think they kind of figured out they couldn't throw much against us. Yeah. And I think that's kind of
makes you a little shy. And plus he had a couple of knockdowns even before then. So you're right. That probably drew them back to their ground game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, our secondary. I mean, if Caden could catch, he'd probably had 2 more interceptions. 2 or 3 more interceptions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But coverage was there.
Was it Rex that knocked one of them out of his hands? Was that against Nova? Or was that the game before that? I can't remember. But there was one.
I think
Caden was going to pick it, and Rex came out of nowhere.
Rex, what are you doing in my territory?
Yeah, exactly. But it is like our secondary is pretty good. We got a bunch of like veteran guys, juniors and seniors, that get a lot of reps in the back end, and so really experienced.
Well, the question was going to come a little bit later on in on my notes, but I'll go ahead now. What do you expect from them? And we've had, there's always a challenge for any team, letting someone get behind you, and catching a pass. Noble actually had one of those, and we just ran them down. I was proud to see that.
Yeah.
But what should fans expect to see with Pryor coming in, and how will you adjust for their? Because I hear they're pretty good on both sides of the ball, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They fly around. They play really hard. I kind of view Pryor. They run similar schemes to Noble. A lot more screens than Noble ran, but very similar. Where it's like they want to air it out, they want to throw the ball. They get a bunch of empty sets and they spread the ball out a lot. And so, I mean, that's kind of what I expect, like scheme wise. But they're really well coached. They do a lot of different things really well. They really makes it a challenge to prepare for them because they do so many different things. So you feel like you have to, set aside practice time to make sure that the kids see all of it and that they know how to line up and they know what the responsibility is and stuff like that. And so they make it difficult to prepare for them in that way just because they're so versatile.
Yeah.
Well, I know coaches, Coach Engelking, I've heard him say most often, but probably faceless, nameless, don't care. Doesn't matter who they are, what their name is. But fans get kind of curious sometimes. But I was told they have twin brothers, a quarterback and receiver. Do they connect pretty often?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was told that too. Obviously on film you see good players, but then somebody told me the quarterback, his twin brother is number 2, and so it makes a lot of sense. They have a lot of players where they link up really well, and it does. You can tell they've thrown the ball to each other a couple times.
Yeah, very good, very good.
They're both really talented kids.
What are you emphasizing at this time in the season and this game coming up? What are some things you emphasize to your defense?
You try to fall back on stuff that you feel like you've been emphasizing since day one. Just kind of reminders of things that they know to do. Things are a lot different now than they were when we first started. When we first started practice, it was 105 degrees.
Yeah.
Right.
The sun was up until 10 p.m. and now we're turning the lights on by the end of practice, and the players are they're at the end of practice, and if they haven't been one of the guys running around, if they're one of the guys that are on the sidelines, they're wishing they had worn long sleeves and stuff like that. But just emphasizing the same things that we always emphasize. I mean, I talked about my 3 points defensively, I think, last time I was on here.
Yeah. I know one of them.
Yeah.
What's the other two?
Yeah, one was get lined up. 2 was do your job. 3 is be violent. And so, I mean, I always emphasize those same 3 points. But especially with Pryor, that they do, like I said, they do a lot of different things. They get the ball to some guys in space. And so just emphasizing, like, all 11 guys straining and swarming to the football and wrapping up and tackling. It was one of our weaknesses, I thought, was perimeter tackling against Noble that we've been working on cleaning up, yesterday and today so far.
Yeah, great. What other question were we going to bug him about? Pick his brain about.
Yeah, and like, we talked about earlier with Coach Brickman with the offense, but the defense also, when those guys come in at the end of the game, you're up, 63 to, I don't know, was it 63-0?
63-0?
No, it was
56-0.
56-0, and then they, they scored, and then we scored, and they scored, and then, as a, and we actually talked about it last show about the shutout.
Yeah.
How important that is to you, but I think you said it's more important for your guys to come in and get those reps.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from what we saw, I mean, they were prepared, and they did their job. And Coach Brickman said Noble saw that, and they took advantage of that, and that's when they got probably half their rushing yards in that fourth quarter, the last 2 drives of the fourth quarter. So, we gave up 280 rushing yards, but,
Yeah, well, 150 of it were to those guys. But it's also really cool to see some of those younger kids get in that have been practicing so hard. Guys like Bo Birdsong and Zayden Miller, they've been playing scout team for us all year, getting beat up by, Taj and Blake Allen. That's not an easy job. Cantrell's another one. But they get out there and they get a chance to, show off what they've been working, what they've been practicing all year, and make a play for it. I think Bo Birdsong was the one that forced the fumble there.
Oh, really?
And then Ruben jumped on it. I was giving Ruben a hard time. I was like, man, you should have picked it up and scored.
Exactly.
We're all screaming in the booth.
Scoop and score. That turf monster got him. Yeah.
Unless he had accidentally kicked it and knocked it.
He probably didn't want to run.
Yeah.
He said it's a football IQ. I knew we could just run the clock out. That's what he said.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Well, Coach, I don't go to practice and make comments, but I when I was there yesterday, I saw Coach Bradshaw. The practice was going on, and he turned to some of the younger guys and said, "Hey, pay attention. You need to be listening to this." Yeah. And they did. I mean, they responded really well. But just that coaching, that care, that every moment is a learning moment and paying attention type moment, and I like that. And the guys to begin with just lined up like like soldiers anyway, just waiting for the next play. So it's just fun seeing a team that has developed through the year and is where they are now. It's just really impressive.
Yeah, so, with Gene talking about that a little bit, it's like, what you had, coming into the summer, okay? Who's coming back, who's new. But as they develop, as they go through the summer the summer pride, and then the scrimmages against the 6A schools, and then, the first few games, and then we have all these injuries, and then all these guys step up. Like, when did you, as a coach, say, hey, these guys are pretty special?
Man,
was there a moment?
I mean, I wouldn't say that there was one moment this year. I think at some point last year
they came came in knowing that, didn't you?
Right.
Y'all felt that, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I think at some point last year, after we lick our wounds from the Poto loss, I probably give myself probably at least 3 days to mourn that loss or whatever, and then I start drawing up. I'm sitting in my planning period or whatever, and I start drawing up like, okay, who are the guys for next year? Penciling in the guys at positions. And I start realizing, man, we're gonna be really good, And then I start thinking, it's like, well, we graduated. Remember last year we had 2 senior linebackers with Brady and Shane that graduated. And I was like, well, we need some guys at linebacker. And so start talking to Coach Bradford about moving Jackson from free safety to linebacker, And he was like, I don't know. I kind of want him to stay at free safety, And I was, I had to make a pitch where it's like, hey, if these college guys are going to recruit him, he's not going to be a free safety, And then I had to. It was really tough to talk to Coach Brickman and Coach E about, hey, we want to put your quarterback at linebacker, So, but I mean, it's paid off, So I mean, I think to answer your question, I think it was, November, December last year, whenever I kind of thought, hey, we're going to have a pretty special team, going into next season. And that was before we even knew all the 5A stuff was going to go down, before the switch was going to be made and things like that. And then, I mean, we've talked about before the dogs at the top of 5A, which are the teams that are left now.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that it was going to be tough, at this point. But in our district, and then in getting to play Noble in the first round and winning the way we did, in some ways 4A is proven to be extremely tough and difficult. If you look at the teams in 4A, they're very impressive. And I mean, we played the gauntlet of the 4A teams in our non-district. So I mean, we knew whenever we went to 5A and we saw the district and stuff like that we were going to be able to make some moves and make a push.
Even experiencing that gauntlet, you still had confidence because the coaches I talked to said, hey, we'll be there.
I think that's why. I think because of that gauntlet, we're doing really well right now. Obviously, I wish those games would have gone differently. I would have won all of them, but we gained a lot of experience from it.
So what uniforms? Is blue out night? Blue out, right?
No, we don't have blue uniforms.
Okay, so I didn't know.
Isn't that weird?
Will we be in our black, I hope?
Yeah, we'll be in our black.
I wouldn't change a thing.
No,
but for the fans' sake, it's blue out night. Dr. Walker, I was in a luncheon today with her at the chamber, and she does such a good job bragging about awesome. the team, the school. She's such a for the school, but she loves football and she loves winning.
And we love her.
Yeah. And she reminded all the folks there that be at the game Friday night and wear blue and everything like that. So, well, Coach, it's always a pleasure having you. You really are a favorite.
And appreciate you guys.
So, any final words for the coach?
No, sir. Just good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll take a break here, and when we come back, we'll have MVP, Mr. Aiden Elcision. You're watching the Coaches Show here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
At CFD, our mission is to deliver quality dentistry by providing big practice benefits with a little practice feel. Since 2008, we've updated our look, technology, and have added new smiles to our tenured staff to better care for you right here at home. Convenience for you is one of our biggest goals, and we often provide same-day treatment to minimize your time off work. We are open Monday through Friday to serve you. Visit cfdok.com for details. We look forward to seeing you at our big little practice.
And we are back. We're doing some mic checks here and making sure we can hear the golden voice of our MVP, Mr. Aiden Elcision. Aiden, welcome to the show. The roar of the crowd is for you. I don't hear it right now, but it'll be coming up anytime now. So we're back. This is the Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network. We're here at Luigi's. We're about to wrap up tonight's show, but you can catch us each week that we're playing, and if we prevail, when we prevail, as we prevail, Friday night, we won't see you the next week because Class 5A is all on vacation.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving.
For the Christmas, for the Thanksgiving week, due to the scheduling of the playoff venues. So we'll be back here. We're hoping we'll be back here 2 weeks from tonight.
Yes, sir.
To prepare for the semifinal game. So we're being joined now by this week's MVP of the game, Mr. Aiden Elcision, number 43, a senior. Welcome to the show, Aiden. You represented a large group of your teammates 2 weeks ago when we had what we called senior night, getting ready for senior night. And as coaches say, Aiden, it seems like senior night again.
Yes, sir.
Friday night's going to be like senior night, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, are you excited?
Yeah, I mean, grew up on this field, so it'll be a blast to play one final game on it.
Well, congratulations on another great win Friday night, and your selection as MVP. Word has always had it the MVP is based mostly on good looks. So we were wondering, where's Aiden? And now here you are.
Yeah.
So they must have been kind of timing it and weeding people out and everything like that. So,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, very good. We watched you all year on defense, but it seems like you've had even a lot more key plays on offense recently. Have you been used more on offense the past few weeks, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's just who's available.
Yeah.
And when it came to what they needed from me, I just had to kind of step up and take the challenge on of playing defense and offense.
Because we were kind of talking off air. Like you're the MVP of the game, and I was just looking at all the stats, and you had 3 tackles. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, how does the MVP have 3 tackles? He should have like 12. 15 unassisted and 2 sacks.
So
it is looks.
It is looks.
No, but you mentioned, and I kid you about playing the tight end role, about catching balls and no targets.
Yeah.
But it's both sides of the ball, and it's the little things. So tell us a little bit about because you said it a while ago when we were off air. It's like I had some really great blocks. So tell the fans about that.
So if I don't get to catch the ball or I don't get to score the touchdowns, I'm still making a detrimental tribute to the team. Whether that be
detrimental to the other team, complimentary to our team.
Sorry.
Right.
Complimentary to our team.
No, I follow you. You're right.
He's nervous.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, the little things always matter. Whether that's securing a block for TJ and he hits the hole, going downhill, or giving Jackson a couple extra seconds to look for the receivers.
And the coaches are grading this on film, and as I understand it, they have some very sharp pencils. Yeah. They watch for details. Yeah. So for you to be selected, and you've probably been up there regularly anyway, but because very often we just recognize so many different players, but that means you had a lot of significant blocks, and also when you're on defense, you probably have a couple of guys on you almost 90% of the time, right?
Yeah.
They double team you and.
Yeah, last week especially. There's nothing too much to say about it. You're always going to. But
if they're on you, they're not on someone else.
If I'm taking up 2, then that means someone else is free.
That's very good. Very good.
And and we kind of talk about Hunter Berry losing Hunter for the season, because you guys are the bookends of the defense, and it was going to be this massive, awesome year to watch both you guys just destroy the quarterbacks. And then Hunter went down, and then you had to step up, and then the other kids had to step up. So what was that like? And how did you take those kids, or not kids, but how did you take them in under your wing and say, hey, do this, not this. We need to be,
Fletcher and Thomas Barbie. And, I mean, Fletcher's is he a senior or?
He's a junior.
He's a junior, but still he's kind of new to the team and everything like that. Yeah, good question, Gerald.
So I mean, me and Hunter, we played throughout all our years, so we kind of have that team chemistry. And then when he went down, I had to realize that I don't really have that with these guys. So. Right. Whether that's on the field or off the field, I realized I have to build that relationship, and that way I know I can trust you, and you can trust me to do both jobs.
And I think that's what's so special about this team is you guys have played football together your whole life almost here in Newcastle, so you can trust, and you know that this guy's going to do his job. If I do my job, we're going to be successful.
Yep.
So if you get a double team, that means some other guy down on the side's not, and he can get around him and get to the ball carrier, the quarterback, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So how about special teams? Are you out on special teams?
A couple this week and last week.
What role? What kicking or?
Kickoff return. I got put on.
Blocking. Good.
Gotta put that blocking to use.
Yeah, you're probably responsible for that touchdown.
And then I'm also on punt return and punt as well.
Yeah. And a shout out, I don't know if I said this on air or off, but a shout out to Ben Rogers, another example of one of those kids who wasn't in the play. Yeah. Caden was running 90 mile an hour down the sideline, and Ben joined him about the 10-yard line and ran between him and a possible tackler.
Yep.
And then he grabbed the back of his leg like started cramping. So he got a lot of attention.
He got the attention.
But that at the speed and the willingness for you guys that don't have the ball in your hand, but you go downfield, do the blocking and everything like that. So just kind of a shout out to him as well. Hey, you have been with these guys for all these years, right?
Yes, sir.
So and like I said, we had senior night, the last home game of the regular season is senior night. And it was a lousy night weather-wise, first of all, unfortunately. And the game was
Thursday. Had to move it to Thursday.
Well, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that, obviously, in order to avoid the rain.
Right, which, ironically, it rained.
It did rain. But anyway, a long story, a little bit shorter. Senior night just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same. So you got some opportunity to enjoy the next week with the playoff game. But this is like a major senior night.
Yeah.
All these guys you've been playing with all these years, and so what are your thoughts about that? Just I know it's just probably another game, but yet it's a big. This is your last game to play on at Racer Stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a big game, but you don't want to treat it as too big of a game because then you start making mental mistakes and slouching off. But so I mean. I'd love to see the crowd out there and see the community come together for the last official senior night because, got to redeem ourselves after the last one. So.
Well, you don't have much to redeem, but you're referring to the fact that we lost in the second round last year. Is that what you're talking about? Redeeming?
I was just saying weather-wise, it was kind of cold.
Okay, my bad. You're redeeming, making up for the lost Friday night, senior night. Yeah. And also, we were proud of the team last year. We did get down to Poto, and we want to go past that. We want to go one more or two. We'll take one at a time, and we want to keep doing coaches shows for a while. So good luck to you on that. And as you mentioned, the community. So I think Gerald and I are in unison. Say get out and watch the game. Be out there Friday night. It's going to be cool. It's probably going to be cold, but it's not going to be miserable. We were pretty cold last week against Noble, but the weather's going to be dry. It's going to be fun. It's going to be several seniors. We have like 18 or 19 seniors. Something like that.
Yeah, something around there.
Yeah.
And many of them get a lot of playing time. All of them are integral to the team. But be out there to root on Adrian, number 43, and all the other seniors and all the racers, and just pack the house and let's make a lot of noise, okay?
Yes, sir.
Any last questions for Aiden?
Quick question. You mentioned all the the special teams, the offense, defense.
Mm-hmm.
What does your practice look like? Like how do you prepare to know what's going on every offense, defense, special teams, all that?
I'd have to give that up to the meetings that the coaches make us attend.
Okay.
You know,
How many meetings do you attend?
throughout the week, a bunch, to be honest.
Oh, really?
They take it serious once we get up there. So once we get up and get seated, it's go time on focusing in. And if anybody's slacking off or trying to, doze off or anything, like you're going to be punished because that's go time to get in there and really lock in.
Yeah.
Hey, Aiden, would you just stay with us? We'll go ahead and have our final segment with Aiden up here and chime in on any of it. We don't have a lot more to share. I just want to share with our fans that it is a big game coming up. Yeah. Billy Collier did a little bit of analysis, and he said this prior team averages 400 yards a game throughout the season. Yeah. They average 180 yards rushing, 225 passing. It's going to be a tough. We're expecting that. That's what you're supposed to experience. So.
Yeah, I mean, like Coach Brickman said, there's 8 teams left, and none of them are bad.
None of them are bad.
They're all very good.
Pryor prevailed last week in round 1, 40-19 over Bishop Kelly. Yep. They had 513 yards in that game, so they put up a lot of yards. But so did. Bishop put up over 300 against them too, and it wasn't a blowout, but it was a solid win. Keys to the game. Gerald, you and I talk. It seems like always the same things come up.
It is.
Control line of scrimmage. No turnovers.
Protect your quarterback.
Yep. What else, Aiden? What are some? Don't give any corporate secrets, but
Pryor's watching, by the way.
From a fan's point of view, the key to any game like this is what else?
Honestly, just fundamentals. Whoever can, really key in on what they need to do and how they need to do it, that's who's going to win the game.
Mm-hmm. And when you start playing teams like this, they're going to score. Mm-hmm. They're going to score on us. We're going to score on them. They could even score once or twice on us before we score on them. It could happen. Yeah. We're the type of team that I say, whether we're ahead or behind, keep playing hard, because we know we've got the capacity to come back. We've done it a couple of times already. Many of us are fans of the 2020 or 21 game against Cash, where we came back 21 points in the last couple of moments. Yeah. So these things can happen. So I say even if the prior, it does get ahead, we've got to keep our head on straight. Don't lose our composure, and because this team can do a lot of stuff. Yeah,
It's going to be an exciting game. It's probably one of the better matchups.
So
of this next round.
So the game is Friday night. Kickoff is at 7:00. Coverage on OSN begins at 6:30. If you can be at the game, do so. If you can't make it to the game, watch it on OSN. There's a lot of great businesses around here who sponsor the games, and it gives a lot of uncles and aunts and grandparents who live in other cities to watch. So that's a great plan. And come to the game, and then if you really want to watch it on OSN, you can also watch it on Saturday morning with the rest of us, or Friday night if you want to. Yeah. And then the team that prevails will play again on December 6th. The 6th?
Yeah, December 6th.
And Friday, December 6th, and it'll be on a neutral field. So a lot of information to be announced, all right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, with that, we'll wrap things up here. Our thanks to Uriah Martinez, who does a great job for us in coordinating, herding us cats around and everything like that. So thanks to Uriah. Thanks to Luigi's. They do a great job hosting us, and we will sign off now, and our hopes are to see you in about 2 weeks here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Good night, everyone.